Steve Wood. Hubbard clearly states that if anything is not right in your life, Scientology can fix it. If it is not fixed, it is because you are, quote, pulling it in, end quote. Nothing can be Scientology's fault. It can only be yours. If you're unable to discover the cause of whatever your problems might be, Scientology will tell you that it must be because you created this issue in a past life. How convenient. So how was it that LRH was unable to handle his own demons? It's now common knowledge that he had multiple strokes, needed medications, suffered from dementia, and in the end, hid away living in a paranoid and lonely small world of his own making. In short, Scientology completely and utterly failed to save him. What do Scientologists make of this incredible fact? All right, Steve, thanks for the question. I'm not quite sure how I haven't gotten this across yet in the many questions that I've answered of yours, but let me reiterate that what you know about Scientology and the things I talk about, and Leah's talked about, Mike's talked about, Marty, everybody else, are things that Scientologists don't know and refuse to let themselves know. There's a thing called willful ignorance. Scientologists do not go on the internet, do not look up information about L. Ron Hubbard, and they are fed a biography, really literally, the right word is a hagiography, the biography of a religious figure as told by the church. And they are fed this hagiography of Hubbard, this completely made up, bogus biography that he was born, this very able young child who could ride horses and bucking broncos and read at the age of 3, and knew that his purpose was to save mankind very early on, and his entire life was a quest for knowledge and skill and spiritual awareness and ability, and he was on this path from day one forward, and blah, 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 blah. Right? And he didn't flunk out of college, and he was a war hero, and he was this wonderful, successful pillar of foundation of the golden age of pulp fiction. And he was this brilliant writer and, adored and loved by millions. And the world just can't wait to get hold of L. Ron Hubbard's technology and use it to, create saner and more wonderful conditions for all of us. This is the Scientology mindset. They do not want to hear anything critical or bad about L. Ron Hubbard, and they surely do not want that biography to be contradicted by the truth. So they're not going to look it up, right? They're going to accept that he's a war hero. They're going to accept that if in the face of any contradictory information, it is the contradictory, it's the people outside the church, the government, the FBI, right? The CIA, the news media, Leah Remini, us nasty ex-members, all of it can be just shoved right off the table like a cat just pushing it right over. We don't have to listen to that. We don't have to hear that. I don't want to know. That's what Scientologists do. So they don't know the things you know about L. Ron Hubbard and his life. And when people try to tell them those things, they shut down. They don't want to hear it. That's what a cult mindset is all about. And it's what I keep trying to get across is that on the subject of the person's extremism, in this case, Scientology, could be Jehovah's Witnesses, it could be anything. Could be a terrorist group, could be a domestic situation, wherever the extremist beliefs and behavior lie, you have a situation where the person is unable to think critically on that topic. They simply can't do it. And until they have some kind of emotional event, something that is emotionally impactful to them, to snap them out of that fog, they can't accept that new information. It creates what's called cognitive dissonance. And that noise is very uncomfortable to them. And the way they will resolve that noise is not to go, you're making a very interesting point. I think I'd like to know more about that. See, that would be a rational way. A good critical thinker would respond that way when faced with contradictory information. Tell me more about that. If they didn't know, if they didn't, it's like, oh, this is new. I didn't know about this. What's this all about? Scientologists don't do that. If you tell them L. Ron Hubbard, died in hiding, had stroke, Scientology didn't save him, and in fact his will was corrupted, David Miscavige took over. You try to tell them that, they're going to shut you down. Like, before you even get 5 words out of your mouth. And if you did manage to get it all out, they would just look at you. Well, that's not true. No, I don't believe that. I don't even know where you're getting that from. That's a bunch of crap. That's just there's no way that's true. Right? That's going to be their response. There's no way that they can accept that information as true. It's too contradictory to this entire foundation of belief that they have built up. And in fact, that foundation is not just a foundation of belief, it's actually prison walls, and they are in a prison of belief. Okay, remember my earlier analogy to the thought fortress. You've got a thought fortress of belief, and you're not gonna batter down the walls of that thought fortress, with facts and reason and evidence, and expect to change a cult member's mind. So where I'm trying to go here, Steve, is that Scientologists don't have the problem of, oh, wow, Hubbard didn't solve his life with Scientology. Well, why am I doing this? Like, none of them think that way. So that's my answer to your question. It doesn't even come up that way, right? Because that's not how they don't acknowledge the truth of any of the things that you said in your question, and that's why they don't get it. And that's why you will have a very hard time if you ever try to talk to a Scientologist about this and convince them, hey man, what the hell? Like, Hubbard this, Hubbard this, Hubbard this. They're just going to look at you and go, those are all lies. None of that's true. And I don't want to hear anything more about it. And if you keep talking to me about it that way, we're not going to be having a relationship anymore. That is a Scientologist responding to that kind of information. So if you can get further than that, great, but tread cautiously, because they're only going to go so far. There you go.